The Fort Bend Chamber of Commerce. Fort Bend Chamber of Commerce is the largest business organization in Fort Bend County, representing 1,000 business organizations, 5,000 individuals, and over 2,500 jobs. We advocate, elevate, lead in the region to make Fort Bend County the premium destination to live, work, and play. Let's recognize our elected officials and first responders in the room right now. If you're with us, could you please stand up? Elected officials, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for joining us tonight for the Stafford City Council Candidates Forum, and thank you all for all of you who are joining us via Facebook Live and Stafford METV. We thank you for your commitment to being an informed voter. I'd like to introduce our candidates running for City Council. Position 3, we have Ray Thomas.
Good afternoon.
Clay Foster. William Keith Bostic Jr. For position 4, we have Win Guerra and Christopher Caldwell. All right, gentlemen, the format for today's forum will be 1 minute to present an opening statement, 2 minutes to answer each question, and we'll have 1 minute to present a closing statement. Candidates will receive a reminder for 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and a reminder from our timekeeper to stop. That, gentleman, is the stop button. We'll rotate through the panel so everyone has a chance to contribute. We have a comprehensive list of questions. If you have a question you'd like to ask, please submit it via Facebook Live, or if you're here, you can drop it in the fishbowl. And if we get to those questions, we'll get to them. Let's start off with some opening statements. Audience, if you could please hold your applause until the end of the forum. We'll now have each candidate have 1 minute to go over your opening statements. We're going to start with Christopher Caldwell.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Christopher Caldwell. I am honored to serve as a current member of the Stafford Community City Council. I am running for re-election because I believe in responsible leadership, community engagement, and a vision for Stafford that is both sustainable and inclusive. As a dedicated public servant and accomplished education leader, I bring over 2 decades of experience in business education, administration, and public service. I hold a doctorate in education, administration, and currently serve as the department chair of business management at Houston Community College, where I lead strategic planning, budget oversight, and workforce development initiatives. I previously served 9 years on Stafford Municipal School Board as a trustee, including 4 years as board president, and have consistently advocated for student success, financial accountability, and transparent governance. My priorities are clear: support public safety, invest in infrastructure, retain and grow local businesses, and ensure our city's financial health without losing what makes Stafford unique. I am committed to making decisions that reflect the values and voices of our residents.
Thank you, sir. Win Guerra.
I've been in this community since 1978. I was your representative for 21 years as a city councilman. I was I was here since then, but I was also brought into the EDC. I was a president for 15 years. I performed my duties for almost a quarter century with resolve. The only reason that I figured that it would be a justified run for this election was by the urgent of my citizens. They asked me to run, and I had to really take a look at the big picture. And I still think that I can help this community and its dire straits, which we are not in. I have lived through this. I was taught by the master of the economic base of this country, Ronald Reagan, and our local leader, Leonard Scarcella.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Boston.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hello, I'm William Bostic. As your current city councilman and a director on the Stafford Economic Development Corporation, I'm committed to improving our residents' lives by keeping Stafford property tax free, strengthening our city services, and enhancing our quality of life. I've attracted businesses, upgraded infrastructure, and expanded community programs to ensure a thriving future. I will continue to invest in workforce development, strengthen business partnerships, and collaborate with SMSD on scholarships and career opportunities. I want to remind you that we've been making progress, and let's keep moving Stafford forward. More on my platform is no property tax. I pledge to keep Stafford America property tax free. I'll also bring jobs to Stafford, and these are well-paying, quality jobs. I'll also increase our public spaces by identifying open, vacant spots in areas of opportunities for new park infrastructure. And most importantly, I would like to have a transparent government, and that includes making our government more accessible and responsive to the needs of the community by creating new channels to communicate. And this also includes looking at what our government is doing and the work output that they're creating. So we need to actually look at this and see any type of input and what they're putting into our city so that we can see what type of concrete measurements they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Foster.
Well, thank you. I'm Clay Foster. I'm a police officer here in Fort Bend County. I'm committed to fixing the city's problems. I believe that we're headed in the wrong direction when it comes to crucial things like public safety and the investments that we're making in our community. I've taken the time to study the problems that we have and the potential solutions that exist, and doing what I can to make the jobs of our first responders, the police and fire, safer, make our community safer, and ultimately one that people want to live in and bring their businesses to. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce and Chris for moderating this. I want to thank Stafford MSD for allowing us to use this facility, and I want to thank everybody in the audience and the television audience at home for tuning in. It's a very important election. We have a fork in the road. We got to make a decision on which way we're going to go. Thank you.
Mr. Thomas.
Good evening. My name is Horace Ray Thomas. I'm a candidate for Stafford City Council position number 3. As we look ahead, I see a city poised for greatness, a Stafford that excels in every aspect under leadership that prioritizes its citizens and business community. But we face a real challenge, one that threatens the very fabric of our city. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 57% of Stafford residents are renters. And research suggests that that number could be as high as 65%. Over the years, our city has shifted from a destination city to a transition city, where long-term residents are moving elsewhere in search of a better quality of life. We cannot let this trajectory continue. When leaders fail to plan and organize effectively, the consequences ripple across our community. Strained resources, missed opportunities, and a city struggling to retain its people. But with the right leadership that is proactive, strategic, and committed to long-term success, we can reverse this trend and build a Stafford that people want to call home for generations. My vision looks ahead to the next 5, 10, and 15 years, ensuring that we don't just react to challenges, we anticipate them. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, that was your opening statement. Our next statement is going to be 2 minutes. I want to remind everyone what a stop sign looks like. And so we'll keep moving here. Let's go, Mr. Bostic, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to popcorn back and forth here. What are your strategies to improve financial transparency in the city of Stafford?
Absolutely. Thank you. So one of the main things that I need to remind the public is that Stafford is 7 square miles. We're not getting bigger. We're landlocked. Further, our population is declining. We've had a 3% population decline already within the 5-year gap of the American Community Survey. So our population went from about 17,700 people to about 17,100. So just continue to pay attention to this trend. But in terms of the financial well-being and transparency, I have faith in our mayor and also our mayor pro tem, both very prominent financial gurus that I'm honored to say that I look up to. And so in terms of where we're at, in terms of our financial standing, we're fine. The city's fine. The city's not going to shut down. There's individuals out here who are saying that our city's going to shut down, and I can guarantee you that's not going to happen. Our ISO rating's still #1. Every weather catastrophe we've had, we faced head on. The city has never shut down. So this comes back to how do we generate revenues? It's not through a property tax because it's only going to impact the residents that live here the most. The renters, it doesn't have an impact on. It just increases their rent. My goal is to protect the residents here, the people that live here, call Stafford home, and that's my objective. It'll be my only objective. And further, is looking at different types of opportunities and revenue streams. One revenue stream that I have is a public-private partnership with a telecommunication company that my co-counsels were very excited to take on, and we're currently in the process of doing I can't discuss too much about it. But at the end of the day, our city's fine. Our finances are fine. Our city will not shut down. And I can guarantee you that. We're going to provide exceptional services, and we're going to improve our quality of life and enhance the community every day. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Foster, tell us your strategies that you would employ to improve financial transparency.
Well, I think the first step to improving financial transparency is, one, we got to be able to bring the public into the room and present an accurate picture of where the money's going, what the shortfall is, where the money's coming from, and ultimately what the needs are down the line. Unfortunately, when it comes to the transparency that we should have, we don't have a lot of it. And there was a revenue workshop a couple of months ago, and the public came in and they wanted to hear from the department heads where the needs are, and that part unfortunately was taken out of the meeting. So I think we need to be proactive in getting the information out to the public using social media and all of the tools at our disposal for financial transparency.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Garrett, financial transparency. What's your strategy for ensuring financial transparency?
Well, first of all, I got to come up with this. Somebody's been leaning on the panic button. The transparency's there, and it's funny how they wanted to levy a 30-cent devaluation on 100 without a budget, without a shortfall. Come on now. That's why I'm running now. My neighbors urged me to run. I was happy being retired. But when they call, I come a-running. I've always been there for my citizens, and I've been there for not just yesterday. I didn't just show up. I showed up in 24. And I am here to serve, and as far as transparency, we got it. We were short police officers. We hired 10. We were short equipment. We bought 5 vehicles. What else matters? Then zero property tax. We're doing this with zero property tax. We're fixing streets like we always have. We categorize the problems, we address them. At the end of the day, our books are open, so if you want transparency, you can ask to look at the books. And if you need meetings, we can provide those.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Thomas.
Yes. First of all, I want to just go to this very point. The question was about transparency. That's what the question was about. Speak to how do you show the public that what our financial situation is. a couple of months ago, I actually went before City Council and I suggested to City Council to present a dashboard that will describe not just the budget situation, but a multitude of things so that the citizens can immediately go to look at things like what's our budget situation, what's the status, where are we performing well, are we behind? I've suggested that already, and I believe that it just went over the head of City Council. No one took action on it. No one. Here's my suggestion. Because of the fact that every year, at least for the last 3 years, City Council has put together a budget that within 1 week of enacting it, started to amend it. That's ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense. I say you have a quarterly report every quarter. City Council has to present a budget presentation that tells the city where we are, how are we performing, are we sticking to that budget? And if we are not, why aren't we? What have we done well? What have we done badly? Where can we improve? Where can we improve? Who's responsible? Are we holding those people accountable? And if not, why not? That's transparency. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bostic, how do we get more financial transparency? I'm sorry. I am so sorry, Mr. Caldwell. How do we do that?
All right. First off, let me start by making a statement. There's a difference between truth and transparency. Truth is when you ask me a question, I give you an answer. Transparency is me telling you what you do not see. The thing about transparency, especially in the city of Stafford, there are many things that the citizens do not see, do not comprehend, and are not privy to. If we want to be fully transparent, we need to let the citizens know about the lack of employees or human resources in departments. We need to let them know about a potential budget deficit that we're facing. We need to let them know about the dwindling sale taxes and how it fluctuates, so we're not really sure. It's no stability. But when we talk about our finances, there are a few steps that we need to take. First of all, we need to identify the problem. We need to analyze the problem. We need to evaluate the problem. We need to plan for the problem. Then we need to implement a plan. And after we've implemented, we need to go back and reevaluate it again. Those processes can be given to the community so they can see at each step where we are, and they can also have a voice in what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, city council members are nothing more than a voice for the community. So we give you the best options, we research it, and we give you the best options, and we allow the community to tell us what do you want Stafford to look like, and we can fashion it in that way.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gary, I'm going to start with you on this one. How would you address flooding and drainage issues that have been affecting Stafford for many years? And would you support a drainage assessment fee?
Well, first of all, I think the information that's been looked at is lacking. The information needs to be more clear. We need to assess the problems. We've always addressed them through EDC money. Of course, the EDC takes care of the commercial areas. But there's another formula to this, and I don't see anybody participating in it, and that's to go to the TML, the Houston Galveston Council, to absorb money that we can use along with tax money that we are generating through the EDC to take care of the residential. There is plans there, and as far as what we need to do is assess the problems. We have not had a hurricane for a while, but there's been a lot of things that we've done to improve those areas. And myself was probably the only person driving around looking at those areas that improved them. There was ditches that needed to be cleaned. There were culverts that needed to be cleaned, and I was knocking at people's doors and assessing the problems. So you identify the problems, and then you break it down by financially categorizing and serve those areas that need help.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Foster, same question.
So I think when it comes to drainage, it needs to be part of a long-term capital plan. And one of the problems that we have right now with our capital, the streets, the parks, and everything else, drainage falls into that. We need to put together and do the work as a community and council to put together a long-term capital improvement plan and then go line by line and figure out which parts of it are going to be paid for with an assessment or which parts can be paid for with a public utility district or improvement district or EDC funding. But I think that it just really comes back to getting a plan together and having a vision for the future. And when it comes to EDC funding, that's going to benefit our businesses and commercial areas. We have residents who have been sounding the alarm on flooding and drainage issues at their residence for years, and the city hasn't been taking any action on it. So again, we need a long-term capital plan, and drainage definitely needs to be a part of that.
Mr. Caldwell.
Thank you. When I talk about drainage, I have to also include the infrastructure of the city. And infrastructure is the backbone of a strong and safe city. And in Stafford, that means making smart, proactive investments, especially in drainage and flood management. We've made progress over the years, but with a stronger storms and aging system, we cannot afford to fall behind. One of my top priorities will be to accelerate drainage improvement projects in flood-prone neighborhoods and ensure we aggressively are pursuing state and federal funding like FEMA and other grants to support those efforts without putting extra pressure on our city budget. We also need a comprehensive stormwater management plan, and that includes regular maintenance of ditches, culverts, and detention ponds, because flooding isn't just about an infrastructure, it's also about the day-to-day upkeep. But it's also a planning issue. We have to make sure that we plan for things that are coming. I'd advocate integrating a flood risk data into all future development approvals so that we're not creating new problems while trying to solve old ones. And I believe we can improve communication with the residents before, during, and after heavy weather events, making sure people are informed, prepared, and heard. Smart infrastructure investments now will save us millions later in damage and disruption and loss of confidence.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes. First of all, I'm not a civil engineer. So it would be ridiculous of me to sit here or stand here and pretend that I have knowledge about drainage and flooding. I do not. What I do know is this: the city of Houston has that problem. What I do know is that Katy has that problem. Fort Bend County has that problem. Harris County has that problem. And what I would say is that my first step would be, let's go to those guys to find out what is it that they're doing. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, but we can take advantage of the resources that is around us. Take advantage of every state, local, county, federal grant possible to help assist with dealing with the issue. But we don't do it alone. In terms of an assessment fee, this is what I say to that. I repair houses. And when I go out to repair a house, I have a toolkit. And in that toolkit, I chuck it with everything that I possibly could think of as far as what I might be able to use when I go to repair that house. An assessment fee is a tool. I will throw it into the toolkit and consider it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I won't throw it out simply because it's politically expedient to do so. I won't include it just because it's popular to say. What I will say is that I will consider everything possible, assessment fee, no assessment fee, to do what is best for the citizens of Stafford and take advantage of the knowledge that is surrounding us that are dealing with the same problem.
Thanks, sir. And now the real Mr. Bostic.
Yes, so I just want to say that I am the only council member that is on the EDC, so I do understand how both functions work. It's the left hand and the right hand. And so in terms of, I want to just remind the public that the EDC is pumping $6 million into drainage projects in the commercial corridor. But I'm most honored to say that I helped create a committee, a drainage committee that's going to focus solely on the neighborhoods. That's all 6 of our big neighborhoods: Woodland West, Stafford Run, Kingsway, Dove Country, Grove West, South Meadow, Promenade. And this is the idea, is to find where the people are living. We understand that the businesses people just pass through, but it's in the neighborhoods that the people live. These are who are having issues. And once again, what I'm most excited about, even in this most recent budget, we included 2 drainage studies. We included a drainage study for Linda, Craven Road, and over in that area. And then we also included a drainage study over in Crestmont. Those are big things. We have not done that. And so we're trying to target and fix these areas. There's other issues along the easements of the right-of-way. That's a drainage corridor, where the power transmission towers are. I've talked to CenterPoint, and they're willing to work with us and allow us to utilize those same right-of-ways, which will help our drainage in the long run. Another project that we're going to be working on the EDC is Jebbia Lane, which will take a lot of the water pressure off of Missouri City Estates. And this is what it's about. It's trying to figure out, how do we drill down into the community and find out what issues they're facing. We know that the residents have been neglected, and that's why, for the first time, we have a drainage committee, and we're going to staff it fully after this election. So once again, drainage has been a major concern of mine, and I'm going to continue to fight this fight. Thank you.
All right, and I don't think I got the last part of that question on a number of these. I got some of it, so I'm just going to walk down the line and say, would you support a drainage assessment fee, yes or no?
I would consider it.
I would be willing to support it.
No, it's a tax.
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, well then, that's pretty clear. Let's move on. On February 11th, the Stafford City Council and the Stafford Municipal School District Board of Trustees unanimously approved placing a $150 million bond on the May 3rd ballot. What is your position on the proposed bond? Start with you, sir.
My position on the proposed bond is, first of all, yes, the citizens have a right to vote on it. City Council overwhelmingly supported that fact. The citizens of Stafford has a right to vote on it. Interestingly enough for me, that City Council overwhelmingly supported the citizens' right to vote for the bond election, for the bond issue, but City Council didn't feel that the citizens had a right to vote on the property tax issue. I don't understand the inconsistency of that fact. Am I for the bond initiative? Yes, I am. Here's the reason why I support the bond initiative. First of all, the leadership over at the school district. I have criticized them in the past. I have written about the things in which I've criticized them about in the past. Last year, when they put forth the bond initiative, I voted against it. I railed against it. This time, some people contacted me and said, Mr. Thomas, why don't you come in and talk to us and tell us what you're feeling, why you feel the way in which you did, which I think is exactly the way in which a school district should do. They came in, they said, well, I tell you what, Mr. Thomas, if you have some issues with it, come with us. Help us shape policy. I said, absolutely. And I joined them. And we started out with over $200 million, and we whittled it down to $150 million. And what I say to that is, good job. And I wholeheartedly support the bond initiative, not just in terms of letting the citizens vote for it, but in addition to that, voting for it myself. All 4 initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I think that Stafford MSD has a great school board, a great leadership system. I think that anything that the community can do to support the longevity of Stafford MSD is a good thing, and I think that this bond initiative would do that. I think that it invests in the right things to make sure that our school district is set up for success for years to come, and hopefully attract more families to come live in Stafford, get the enrollment rates up, and really see what can be done at that point. Currently, I think it's about $5 million a year that the school district has to pay back to the state in a recapture because of the enrollment. So if this bond can improve the longevity of our school system and attract more families to this city and get MSD enrollment up, I think it's a great thing. I support it, and I will vote for it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So I want to say that I am going to support these kids. I do support the bond, but I do have some concerns. You know, the population is declining. Once again, there's also another big factor that we're not talking about, and that's the vouchers coming from the state. We're going to have the state cannibalizing our own students along with the private schools and the charter schools. So remember that funding is based off of the number of students on count days. I just want to remind y'all that. Further, as myself on council, I've initiated a few events where we're actually allowing the JROTC to utilize our city facilities at free of cost. We're doing our part to try to take the burden off of these programs that the school is doing. Stafford Municipal School District is doing an excellent job, and I want to see it succeed. And it is going to succeed. At the end of the day, the city is going to back the school no matter what. I can guarantee you that. But once again, we're looking at the school is $89 million in debt, and they're requesting an additional $150 million of new debt. Once again, the population is declining. We have state vouchers coming. Make your decision, but still at the end of the day, support these students. Thank you.
So, sir, is that supporting the bonds or not supporting the bonds?
Supporting the bond.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Garrett.
I am not going to turn my back on our school. I was the 15th voter to create it. I stand between myself and my obligation to not only the students, but this community. We have to make sure we build this beautiful district that we created. I was here at the beginning, and there's an individual here that was instrumental in getting us where we're at. I feel sorry for the present president being held accountable for past administration decisions. I think he's doing the best job he can do, but at the end of the day, I'm here to bail out our city and our school district because we are one. At the end of the day, there's no reason why we should turn our back on our children and this facility. This is the pride of our city. And at the end of the day, everything moves from this school district. Hopefully, at the end of the day, this will be taken care of monetarily, but we have to make sure that there's accountable people looking at this money and making sure it's being spent correctly. At the end of the day, there's too much money on the table not to watch it. We're not talking about pennies. We're talking about millions. That's going to be a debt that I'll never see the end of it, and maybe not even some of y'all, and I know some of our children are not going to see it. And at the end of the day, I am here to stand by our school in the best I can. In my position, by my vote, in my position, hopefully as your councilman, to continue supporting this district that I did for 21 years. And at the end of the day, we are here to stand strong for our district and our city.
Mr. Caldwell.
First of all, let me start off by saying I do support the bond issue. Let me tell you why I support it and why you should support it. You should support it because it's a certain effect called a ripple effect. The ripple effect says that we have a nice, strong school district. We have a nice community where individuals would want to come and live. We have a nice, strong school district. That means we are educating our youth, no matter who they are or where they are, we are educating our youth. So we're keeping them on the basketball courts, on the tennis courts, and out of the courtroom. We are educating our youth. Why do we need this bond? Because there's a certain thing that we are facing called competition. We are competing against Fort Bend, HISD, Lamar Consolidated, charter schools, and private schools. Let me tell y'all a little something about what's coming down the pipeline, and y'all heard it. Out of the voucher system, only 2% of the students in Texas will qualify for that voucher. That's about 100,000 students all over the state of Texas. Out of that 2%, you still have to compete to get into these private schools that cost $30,000, $40,000, and your voucher amount is going to be about $10,000. So what does that mean? That means we have to position ourselves as a school district to get ready to encumber these students. You do that by ramping up and improving what you have so that when there are no other options, your option is the best option. We have the best classroom. We have the best environment that's conducive to learning. We have all of the resources needed. That's why I'm voting for the bond, not just for the school, but for Stafford as the whole community, because when we increase our schools and our school districts, then it increases our property value and everything else that goes with the city of Stafford.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bostic, I'm going to start with you. City of Stafford's website proclaims itself the city with no property tax. Since Texas is a state with no income tax, the city must rely on sales tax or property tax to generate the majority of their operating budgets. What is your position on maintaining the status of the city with no property taxes, and how does the city continue to balance the budget and not cut services?
Absolutely. So our sales tax currently are 6% up right now. And so once again, I just want to remind everyone that the economic development is the lifeblood of our city. We need to champion our small businesses. That's the backbone of America. And so one of the biggest things, I have an enhanced version being on the Economic Development Corporation. So I'm able to see both sides of everything. And right now, it's bringing businesses here. It's bringing good businesses here so that encourages people to spend. And the other goal is to make Stafford a destination. How do you do that? You build things that make people want to come here. That includes enhancing our Stafford Center, including building a hotel there on the Stafford Center. This will allow us to attract different types of events, bigger events. Bigger events means more people, which means more heads and beds, which is a program that I'm happy to say I champion with our hotel and bed program. Further is working with the Stafford Center staff to encourage marketing and telling what hotels that people and vendors and patrons will use. Once again, it's just serving on the EDC has shown me how important the sales tax are. And this includes doing a business symposium where we're going to have over 90 of our local businesses here on May 1st at the Stafford Center, where it's going to be a HR, business networking, and career fair. And this will give us all the opportunity to, connect with our businesses. And for the first time, I can say I'm the one that did a census on our businesses. So I have a list of every business, active business in Stafford, broken down not only by what their industry is, but also the segment and everybody in the context. This is something that we've all been waiting for. And finally, we're going to have a Stafford Economic Development Corporation manager, a director. We're going to have a director here that's going to be able to do things that I was told not to do as a councilman so that I wouldn't create any type of conflict. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Foster, what is your position on maintaining the status of a city with no property taxes, and how does the city continue to balance its budget and not?
Well, I think with the property tax, the voters should have had the choice last year, and it's kind of a shame that didn't happen. A lot of people wanted to voice their opinion at the ballot box on that issue and have not just a say on the property tax, but a say on really what kind of city do we want. So the question of whether or not we need one or what do we do to survive without one really has to be answered by the public as far as what kind of a government, what kind of a city do we want. I think most people would like to see the city be a little bit better, and that might take a little bit more money, but ultimately they might say no, we don't want one, and then at that point we do have to make tough decisions. And I think we start by finding parts of city government that have synergies. You got the permits department, they're out doing inspections. You've also got a fire marshal that's doing inspections. Where can we combine those two forces to save money and move that money somewhere else? Something else I proposed is a crime control and prevention district, which would come off the sales tax. It would come from the EDC's portion. but without a single dollar in taxes on anybody in Stafford, we could move about $3 million into crime control and prevention in the city, something that we desperately need. So there's options out there, but I think we shouldn't make any decision without incorporating the feedback of everybody in the community that wants to participate.
All right, Mr. Thomas.
Yes. I go back to my toolkit analogy. I bring a sledgehammer with me. Taxes are a sledgehammer. If I need to use the sledgehammer, I will use it, but the sledgehammer generally is the last ditch effort to accomplish anything. So would property taxes be. I tell you what I am for. I am for a well-financed city government that is designed to achieve the services, to provide the services that the citizens desire and deserve. First of all, safety and security. The primary backbone of a great community is to ensure that the citizens and the businesses are safe and secure. We have found over and over again police chief, fire chief coming before city council begging for resources. I sat and watched Mr. Bostic on the tail end of city council, looking as though he was totally indifferent to what the needs were of the city. The primary responsibility of a city government is safety and security. If city property taxes is one of those things that must be done, okay. But first of all, we need to make sure that the money that is going out the back door is well spent. I'm on the park committee, and there was a suggestion that came to spend $1.3 million on parks and recreation without going out for bid. And I sent that back and said, no, we should not do that for this reason. We need to make sure that every penny that we spend is well spent before we start talking about city property taxes. Thank you.
I'm going to go with Mr. Caldwell.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. First of all, let me make this statement and make it loud and clear. No 7 individuals that sit on city council can implement a property tax. We do not have the power or the authority to do so. We can suggest, and it goes before the community. The community, the Stafford community, the citizens of Stafford are the only individuals who can vote yea or nay on the implementation of a property tax. So the fact that we're discussing it on city council is a moot point because you guys have the power to say yes or no. That being said, there is a budget deficit that we faced last year. Let's just be very honest. There was a budget deficit because if there was not a budget deficit, we would not have to come back and amend the budget in order to meet certain needs. So the budget deficit is a serious concern, and we need to address it head on. But we also have to respect what makes Stafford unique. The absence of a city property tax has been a point of pride and a real economic driver helping us to attract businesses and grow responsibly. I believe implementing a property tax should be a last resort, not a first reaction. Before we consider something that would impact every resident and business in this city, we need to look hard at spending, increasing transparency, and exploring all other revenue options like grants, partnerships, and better efficiency on how we operate. At the same time, I am not going to make promises I cannot keep. If the numbers show that Stafford simply can't sustain its services long-term without some form of tax, then I believe residents should have a direct voice through a public vote, a full access to the data behind the decision. Ultimately, my approach is simple. Protect what makes Stafford strong, be honest with the public, and make decisions that are fiscally responsible and community-focused.
Thank you. Mr. Garrett, what is your position on maintaining the status of the city with no property taxes, and how does the city continue to balance its budget and not cut services?
Well, in my position, I take it's absolute. I mentioned my mentor, Leonard Scarcella, and being there with him for almost a quarter century, looking at the budget, he was able to do what he have now. Please, in the foyer, I took a picture of a monthly note. Read it. We were in worse shape in 2011 than we are now. And we were able to survive. We met all the needs of the city, and we kept on growing to what it is now. As far as the increase of economic growth, we're going in the right direction. I was instrumental in getting an economic director that got us where we're at, up to the point that she resigned, and that was to create the grid. We're not through with the grid. Nobody talks about it, but we're going to get the full impact of the money that we're sharing with them that we're not going to have to share with them after the contract lapses. That's going to be a hike in our income. Look what Ms. Wharf and myself did on Highway 90 to bring all those fast food places we have now on the west side of Highway 90 on the south, in front of the promenade. All that was instrumental on getting us where we're at. When I got on here, they say I made a mistake earlier. At 2002, we were short police officers. We've been short police officers every year. But we are managing our money that we were able to hire 10 police officers this year, and we were able to get them their vehicles. I'm not going to lean on the panic button. We're doing fine. With the right amount of money in our treasury, we can even raise some money with a bond to take care of other problems.
And Mr. Kerr, I'm gonna kick this back to you. What strategies, because you've started on this, what strategies would you suggest for generating additional revenue to meet the city's growing needs?
Well, I just said something.
Okay, do you want to elaborate on that any?
I will, but
Okay.
We're not through raising money. And part of the contract, like I said, at the grid is coming to an end, and we're not going to share nothing with street level. All the money that we've been sharing is going to come to the city. And they're still continuing to put businesses in there. If you go by there, they already knocked down the garage. That's going to be areas for green areas, possibly a hotel, and other things like that. That money is not going to be shared anymore. And I'm thinking they're going to come back like a fox to the chicken coop. They're going to see if they're going to try to negotiate and take some of our money back. Well, I'm here to advise and loudly that we don't go into any more contractual agreements. We get all the money and it's been done. Now we got a little more money than we had previously. Then we're looking at the Regal Ranch. That's another opportunity to do another managerial district that is going to bring money to the city. And at the end of the day, we are not in dire straits. We have money. And I applaud Mr. Matthew, Mayor Matthew, on being astute on accumulating the funds. And all budgets are amended, no matter what it is. At the school, at the state level, and at the city level, budgets are amended. And at the end of the day, we can get things done, not only for the quality of life, infrastructure, streets, and employment of our citizens, being involved with the engaging with our staff and providing an ample amount of staff. We did more with less in the years past because I was there. And at the end of the day, we are doing just fine, and we're going to continue to grow.
Mr. Foster, what strategies would you suggest for generating additional income, additional revenue?
Well, I've talked about the crime control prevention districts, and I think it's a great idea. I mean, we're right now, not to lean on the panic button, but we're pulling $3 million a year from our city's fund balance that Mayor Cecil Willis put together and put money into over the course of several years. Now, on top of the fact that we're borrowing $3 million a year from that fund balance, we're also in a staffing situation with our police department where we've got 11 frozen positions at the police department. So when it comes to strategizing ways to bring in money, and I agree that a property tax is a last resort, and that's why I'm big on the crime control and prevention district. We would use sales tax money, be able to invest $3 million based on the current figures into public safety. We could put 11 more cops on the beat. We could it's also equipment and training. Our police officers, we have several that are riding around tonight on patrol to protect this city with expired bulletproof vests. They're only good for 5 years. They don't last forever. But we have officers that have vests that expired 2 years ago. The other thing, our fire department with no bailout kits, that's if they're in a 3-4 story building, which we have several of in this city, they have no way out. So we need to strategize, and I think the crime control and prevention district that I've proposed is the way to do it. At least for now, it's a starting point, and invest in those crucial public safety needs. We've got lives on the line, not just the lives of our first responders out there doing the work, but also the residents and visitors that are relying on their service.
Ray, talk to me about revenue.
Yes. So the city of Stafford is nestled between Houston, Missouri City, Sugar Land. There we are, right in the middle of all of that. And if you look at Sugar Land and you look at Missouri City, you see improvements. And I say great for them. And as a result of that, guess what developers are doing? They're going into those places where those cities have invested in themselves, because they say, hey, if they invest in themselves, then I think it's probably smart to go in and get in bed with them. You develop interest in your city when you invest in yourself, not pull back from it. Invest in yourself. When you put out the word that this is a safe and secure city that is investing in its infrastructure, that is investing in its people, by whatever means necessary to do that, that is investing in its long-term strategies 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, to determine whether or not their business model matches up with ours. Because development is all about planning for the future. I'm not going to go into a place where a city is not interested in investing in themselves. That's illogical. We must invest in ourselves. That will draw the necessary funds that we're looking for additional revenues. That's what we should do. And that's what we should plan to do for the next 5, 10, 15 years. Thank you.
William, give me some ideas.
Thank you. First, I need to make a point of clarification. I would like to thank Mayor Pro Tem for helping us secure the bailout kits for the firefighters. We did get that from a business owner. Further, we don't have 11 vacancies. We just hired about 8 officers over the past 2 months, so that vacancy went down too. When someone says that I don't care about my community or I have an indifference look to that, yes, we're working with our business owners. So once again, I have a gentleman up here that says I'm indifferent to my community. But back to it, because he talked about police for the whole time. But I'll give you some specific examples. So there's a 2023 Fort Bend mobility bond that we secured through Pike Road. We're supposed to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.5 million. It got revised down because Lovett gave us $1.1 million. There's also telecommunication firms utilizing our right-of-ways and paying the permit fees for that. That's coming down the line. There's a TMO grant for $50,000 to replace our water fountains. It's taken us 3 years to replace our water fountains, and we're still working on it, from being blamed on COVID to not knowing what to do to staff forgetting to even put it on the record. It's disappointing to see how many different issues and how different synergies can hurt our city. Another thing that we have going on is, once again, the heads and deads, the Stafford Center expansion. These are all things that are not going to impact our community. Further, I want to announce that on the grid, we're going to include a substation for the police officers over on that side of town. So once again, this idea of a special district is only going to be centered to cater a certain area. That's the wrong way to do it. Once again, there's ways to make money, and you hear all my... Further, I sent the grant coordinator about 12 grants, but as usual, there's some issues going on right now, and answers aren't being delivered. So I'll be looking into an efficiency audit.
All right. Mr. Caldwell.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I will go back to my statement earlier, truth and transparency. You've heard a lot of truth, but they haven't been very transparent. Transparency, again, is the ability to show you what you don't see. Yes, the grid is up and running, but they don't tell you is that we made these agreements where we won't see any sales tax revenues for another 10, 15 years, possibly. Is it 2030? You can shake your head, no, but I was there. So we're not receiving any money. Businesses are coming into Stafford, but they're not paying sales taxes to Stafford, and the residents are not benefiting. We just had a multi-million-dollar project on Pike Road, which the residents of Stafford do not drive down Pike Road. My point is this: we need to take care of our residents. We have drainage issues. We have street problems. We have light problems. We have signs that you can't even read the name of the street on. Our residents are what's important, not the businesses. Are there ways for us to make more money? Yes, let's look internally first. I love the fund balance policy. But if we relax the fund balance policy, that's immediate money that's coming to us, which Mayor Scarcella did not have a fund balance policy. Thank you, Mayor Willis, for that. Next, if we look at taking a portion or a fraction of a penny away from the SEDC, immediate $3 million that goes straight to the residents. We need to create a business task force so that we can retain our businesses and work together. So there are ways that we can make money and bring money immediately back into the city, but the residents should be our number one concern. Stop chasing after businesses and make our residents a nice, livable space.
All righty then. Mr. Caldwell, I'm going to start back with you then. How would you characterize the current level of collaboration and commitment to addressing the city's challenges?
So, unfortunately, in any society, and we are a microcosm of our own country, there are so many varying opinions, and there are so many different viewpoints. What we need to do as a city council, and I'm going to be very political here, we need to learn how to work together and bring our ideas, all that good stuff, our ideas to the table, have the right to agree to disagree, sit down, and focus in on number one, what's our number one priority? Our community. One of the number one priorities for the community is safety and security, proper drainage, proper streets, a livable space, a space where we have conveniences, where we have a grocery store, where we can eat, where we have green spaces, where we can have a park. It doesn't matter what our viewpoints are. What matters is the last and final result on how we get to it and make it work. It's okay. We have 7 different individuals with 7 different backgrounds, with 7 different experiences, with 7 different educational backgrounds, maybe even religion, who knows? But the thing of it is we need to come together as a cohesive unit, put aside our personal differences, and then focus in on what is the good of the community. Because that's what we're here for. The community voted us in to make decisions on their behalf based on the information and the data that we've obtained. And that's what we need to learn how to do. So that's how we achieve that goal.
Mr. Garrett, how would you characterize the current level of collaboration and commitment to addressing the city's challenges?
Well, I was in it for so long that we never had any problem with that. We met our needs. We talked to our citizens. They would stop us in the street. They would talk to us at the stores. And we talked at our HOA meetings. We were at the games. We were everywhere. As far as the collaboration, No, it ain't gonna take 30 years to get the money out of the grid. It'll happen within the next 3 years. And that's not gonna be a chump change. It's gonna take some good money out of there. And that's why they're fighting to renegotiate. At the end of the day, we are gonna take care of the business that we need to. We're gonna take care of the infrastructure and the streets and the quality of life. The city has never fallen other than the pandemic period, and we pulled it together because of the grid. We need an economic director to work with us like the last one we had, and that was brought in, and the conception of it started with me because I told Leonard Scarcella, my mayor, we need a full-time headhunter looking for businesses, and that's what we have, and that's what we got, and that's why we have the situation we have. It bailed us out. Who would have thought, giving money away? The grid bailed Stafford out at its critical point. At the end of the day, we're not in trouble. I'm not going to lean on a panic button. And as far as getting along, hey, there's a lot of families that can't even talk to each other. We all have different opinions, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to turn my position to take care of the kids, the school, and the citizens of Stafford, and the businesses.
Mr. Bostic, how would you characterize the current level of collaboration and commitments to addressing the city's challenges?
Absolutely. I want to say that everybody that's on council and everybody up here, they all care about Stafford. They want the best for Stafford. Yeah, we might clash heads, we might bicker, but at the end of the day, most of the time, when it comes to Stafford's well-being, we can all agree to disagree, but then we'll most of the time agree. At times, there is something very contentious that would divide council, such as the property tax. From day one, I vowed I was not going to vote for a property tax, and I stood on it, and I'll stand on it again. I don't mind going across the aisle, because that's what it's about. It's working with as Councilman Caldwell said, it doesn't take one person, it takes 7. Technically, it takes 4 votes, but then in certain matters, when you read the fine print, you need to read everything, and it takes a super vote. So at the time, when you do try to negotiate, you should try to offer the olive branch at the beginning instead of at the end, as what happened with our property tax debate. You know, they put a $1 million homestead exemption. There's no single house in Stafford, America that's worth $1 million. Not a single residential house. But they want to put out this fake homestead exemption to drive up interest. So once again, all I can say is that I enjoy working with all 6 of my colleagues, and I hope that they'll say the same for me, because at the end, I don't ever want to be the smartest one in the room, because I heard if you're the smartest one, you need to leave. So, thank you.
Yes, sir. How would you characterize the current level of collaboration? I keep saying collaboration and commitment to addressing the city's challenges?
Well, I would say that the collaboration on council probably is not what it should be. Stafford is, as been said before, 7 square miles, 17,000 people, but the issues seem to really split this city in half, and we've been seeing a 4-3 split on council for a couple years now. It's been over a year with a 4-3 split. So realistically, a city of our size, we shouldn't be so divided. We should remember, like has been said earlier, we are one city. It's not a big place, and we should all put our differences aside and commit to doing what's right for the city. Not just for today, but also for tomorrow. But to answer your question, I would say that there is room for improvement there. Needs to be a team mentality, not just a team of 7, but a team of 17,000, really, because that's what the city is.
Yes. The answer to your question directly, I would say poor. Over the course of the last year, I've gone to many, many city council meetings, and I've watched many city council meetings on CCTV. And the things that I observed left me uninspired. My understanding is that the situation had become so bad to a point where they had to bring in a specialist to help them work through their organizational skills and participation and things like that. And the feedback that I heard was, man, there were a couple of people that just refused to participate in the process, which I think is similar to the way in which they conducted themselves on city council. The problem is, quite frankly, is that when you don't have the appropriate leadership to guide council forward, you will have chaos. You will have constant disruption. I have seen bullying, unbelievable bullying, dressed against one of the female council persons. Just unbelievable to me that a person would conduct themselves in that way. So I would say poor, lots of room for improvement. But I think the primary reason why it exists is a failed leadership from the top. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now, another question here about governance. Nor the mayor sitting here. But City Stafford operates under basically strong mayor, home rule charter. Would you be open to exploring an alternative governing model, say mayor and council, city manager council form of government?
It's an interesting thought, and the reason why it's coming up is because failed leadership of today. That's the reason why it's coming up. The issue wouldn't even come to the surface if we had leadership. We don't have it. So in effect, what we really have is an agenda-led council. Council members put items on the agenda, they vote on it, that's where they go. That's how they go forward. One of the things that I do know, I went back and looked at many of the agenda items for the last year. And I looked at the mayor's, the items that I thought perhaps maybe the mayor put on the agenda. Because of the fact that there were so few, and the ones that he put on the agenda were actually mandatory items, it points to the fact that there's a lack of leadership. And the incumbent in which I'm running against, he had so few agenda items. And most of the items that he had on there in terms of the things that he wanted were things that provided a way for him to attain some sort of power. And it was about him. I'm going to tell you again, when you have a council member who do not understand the purpose of his role is to serve his community and not himself, you have a problem. And it leads to the dysfunction of the council because other council members are actually on board trying to do something for the community, for the citizens. Multiple times I've come before council and I say to them each and every time, not one time did either one of you city council members say anything about the citizens. The word citizen rarely ever came up. In my opinion, anything that is discussed on council at the end of the day should be centered around the citizens. And that current council has lost that fact. Thank you.
Mr. Foster. Let me restate the question so we understand what we're talking about here. The City of Stafford has a strong mayor form of government. It's written in our charter. Thank you, Mayor. Are you open to exploring other governing ideas like a city manager council form of government?
Well, I think whether we're mayor, council, or council manager, that's a long-term decision that has really a day-to-day impact. I mean, in the current form, the mayor, council, strong mayor government, mayor is running the day-to-day operations of the city. In a manager form of government, we would have to hire out a city manager. And for a city this size, I believe when Ms. Councilwoman Rosas proposed hiring a city administrator to manage the day-to-day functions of the city, the salary budgeted somewhere was going to be around $200,000, I want to say. Well, unfortunately, we really don't have that kind of money right now. So I would say in terms of changing our charter, I don't think this is the time to do that. I think we should, if we want to do that, if we want to put the management of the day-to-day in a city administrator's hands, well, then let's plan for that. But I don't think we need to rewrite the charter at this time, no.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
We're only 7 square miles. We have a strong mayor form of government. It's written in our city charter. I support our mayor. He's the CEO of our city. He cares about this city. He's going to do what's right for this city. This individual over here might not care, or he thinks he knows everything. But, you know, once again, he doesn't understand what a city manager does. A city manager will be $250,000. That's $250,000 for them to sit here and do what the mayor's supposed to do. Once again, our city's never shut down. I want to remind y'all, our city has never shut down. Every disaster we've been through, since someone wants to keep mentioning something, the 3 years I've been on council, this city has never shut down. So, once again, there's no need for a city manager. If anything, I look at getting internal counsel for the same price or actually cheaper. I just want to advise the public that a few members of council allowed our legal spend to go over $125,000 over our budget. So once again, where are these opportunities that we can find? It's definitely not with a city manager. Thank you.
When strong mayor versus city manager.
Strong mayor. I've lived with that strong mayor concept from day one, and I didn't always agree, but we ended up meeting halfway, and we got things done. As far as a city manager, you're at 7 square miles. 7 square miles. And he's going to earn a huge amount of money that could be used for something else. So the infrastructure, flooding, there's a gob of things that can be used using that money. I stand behind the mayor just like I stood behind the last two, and definitely when Leonard Scarcella was there. He was a totalitarian leader, but he got things done. Half the manure that's been up there would have never happened while he was there. He'd send you rolling bouts because he was the mayor, and there was no doubt who was in charge of that council when he walked in. And he didn't always do it to our likings, but at the end of the day, look what we've done with a strong mayor. We've done a lot of things. And at the end of the day, even opponents become your mentors. And that's what that man did to me. I learned so much municipal finance, on how to approach things, just like Mr. Willis. The first person I jumped on his tail was Mr. Willis going to the TML, the Houston Galveston Council, networking to find how we were going to bring money to Stafford. I don't see anybody doing that no more, because we had designated people that were caring enough to finance the city with a zero property tax. No, I don't want a city manager. The people vote the mayor in, and the people should honor that. He got in with more votes, and at the end of the day, you didn't vote for him, well, you just have to wait till the next term that the majority got him in.
Before everyone thinks I want to get rid of Ken, Mr. Caldwell, give me your thoughts on strong mayor versus city manager, city administrator.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. The city of Stafford was thrust into a very precarious situation upon the departure of the late Mayor Leonard Scarcella. 50 years in office is very difficult to replace that, to find an identity that doesn't mimic his, but one that can come in and continue to allow this city to run and to prosper and to be progressive. It's unfair for the last two mayors to be even closely judged by what he did. I think because of that and because of the transitions that have gone on, that it's very dangerous to make a decision out of emotions. and we've been wrapped up in emotions a lot because things are not running like it did for 50 years. Mayors are trying to find a way. They're trying to fill their own shoes. I would say that I am not for a city manager at this time. In the future, if things do not progress, city services begin to diminish, infrastructures begin to diminish because the mayor is just not capable or have the time or the wherewithal in order to run the city as a CEO, then I would like to revisit that. But this is so new, 3 years, and we're still trying to find the identity of what the mayor should do, because for 50 years you had one who ran it strongly, and he created this identity for Stafford. So that's my take.
All right, thank you. All right, lightning round. All right, this is a 1-minute answer. I need the most pressing infrastructure need of the city of Stafford. It's 1 minute, not 2 minutes. Everyone understand that? Shake your head like this. Shake your head like this. Mr. Bostic, hitting you right now. Easy. Mr. Bostic, 1 minute, most pressing infrastructure need for the city of Stafford.
I'll actually go along with the drainage issue, and that goes along more so towards the residential area, because once again, the purpose of this residential drainage committee was to find where the biggest hole was. There was no voice for our neighborhoods. There's never been a voice for our neighborhood until we created this neighborhood drainage committee. And on top of that, with that, it's going to address us and help us out with different flood mitigation programs. And that's through the FEMA community grant. Once again, I feel that council has ignored the needs of the community, of the neighborhoods. But one way to rectify that was through this drainage committee, which I'm very honored to say that we created, and I look forward to what we're going to be doing in the next few weeks. Thank you.
Okay, who's got the next one? Yes, sir.
For infrastructure, I mean, it'd be hard to pick just one, but everybody expects the city to put in nice sidewalks, right? I mean, people like sidewalks, and you got a lot of neighborhoods I've been walking, and the sidewalks, they're not even, and I talk to a lot of residents there. They want to get out and walk, but maybe they have mobility issues, and they're almost afraid to walk on some of these sidewalks. So I think that's probably the most pressing. Then after that would be streets, and our street signs. Our street signs are faded out, and we have a lot of street signs that are faded out. That's part of infrastructure. Those are capital investments. And but yeah, sidewalks would be top, because that's what people really expect from their city before anything else, is good sidewalks.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir. Number one, street repair.
Absolutely. Street repair. It's just that simple. Go in any neighborhood. Go in any neighborhood. Ask them, hey, what do you want done? I want that pothole fixed. It's been there for 5 years. I'm standing outside talking to a neighbor about street repair. Guess who drives by? Stafford street repair guy. We flags him down, we stop him, we say, hey, what's going on with street repairs? Nothing ever seems to get done. He pulls out a pad and he fans the pad, and it has all of these streets on it. And he says, we know, we just don't have the people to do it. The mayor keeps cutting our budget. I said, that needs to change. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. This question is no right or wrong answer. It's just personal opinion. For me, in my viewpoint, it is our personnel at City Hall. I think if we can create more efficiencies, i.e., a permitting department, we had more people that can go out and check on more buildings and bring in more revenues. So I think if we can fix the infrastructure in the personnel department, we're operating on a 50-year-old system that has never been checked, that has never been revamped, that has never been revisited. So I think if we can go in and we can do some better things in that department, it makes no sense that businesses move into Stafford and they can't get their businesses up and running for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. We're not generating those sales taxes. So I think that's an area that I would focus on. Not that the other guys are right or wrong, but for me, personally, that's what I would like to see, so we can get more efficiencies and bring in more revenues.
Number one, infrastructure need, City of Stafford. 1 minute.
Well, everybody in the room knows the infrastructure problem we have. At the end of the day, we can systematically take care of it. As we speak, we are doing major renovations on the streets in Sugar Creek and in Kingsway. And I appreciate the diligence of our crews that we're using. Yes, we do have a small crew, but we only have 7 square miles. What you going to do if you buy into an idea to hire 30 people, and at the end of the day, what you're going to do when they finish all the renovating, then you start giving out pink slips. And then possibly talk about a property tax. All this is being done without a property tax. So I stand behind property tax? No. Stand behind a city manager? No. With a strong mayor and a good council, we are getting things done, and that's why I'm running now. I feel that I get in there and I can work with the men we got and women, and at the end of the day, we can do the job.
I'm going to score that as streets. Okay, all right, good. Just want to check on that. Okay, this one now. You had a lightning round. We're going to shrink this up just a little bit. I need 3 answers from you right now. Okay, this is what City of Stafford, okay, should start doing, what City of Stafford should stop doing, and what City of Stafford should keep doing. Everyone understand the question? What should City of Stafford start doing? What should they stop doing? What should City of Stafford keep doing? You got 3 minutes to answer that question. My timekeeper, get with me on this. Mr. Bostic, you're furiously writing. I'm going to get you up there first. I got start, stop, keep.
Okay. Appreciate you picking on me again.
Yeah, that's all right.
So the first thing I'll say they need to start doing is, I agree. I've been talking about the street signs and the street repairs, especially along our primary corridors. Being on the EDC, that's one of our biggest things that I've been pushing, but we've had to have staff maneuver it, and they haven't produced a project yet. But once again, that's coming down the line. What they need to stop doing, I'm going to say, is making excuses, especially when it came to the water fountain situation. The fact that the first public works director utilized COVID as an excuse, and it was 2023, 3 years after COVID, and then I had to repeal it to only find out that they didn't have a plan, and then they wanted to turn the water fountains on, but then we were going to have a Flint situation, and that concerned me. So thanks to me, we're actually going to replace the entire water fountain system in all our parks. What we need to keep doing is folks like some of our staff that are here to help me. They're not here to cause a hindrance on what we're trying to do. They're very non-objective, and there's a special someone in here I want to give a shout out to, including Mrs. Riggs, who's helped me with this business symposium, having to go through various hoops and hurdles to get this through. And that's what it's about. It's a team. She understands it. Our multimedia folks understand it. Our fire marshals understand it. It's a team effort to make things happen. And that's what we need to keep doing. We understand that it's Stafford, America. This is our little city. It's the best kept city in Texas, best kept secret in Texas. And it's so many opportunities. So thank you.
Wayne, I'm going to throw that to you. What are we going to start doing? What are we going to stop doing? What are we going to keep doing?
Well, we've got to keep doing what we've been doing, working without a tax, categorizing the problems, addressing them accordingly, and at the end of the day, service, service, service. That's all a city is a service machine to the citizens. And I'm not here to say we're doing the best job, because I hear too much, or too many complaints from the business sectors and the citizens. So yes, we do need improvement, communications between our CEO and the city managers, department managers, and at the end of the day, When we categorize and address those problems, I think we can get this done, but not without our diligence of working together. And then at the end of the day, without a city manager and zero property tax, and that's all.
Yes. What should we start doing? We should start collaborating with the Stafford Municipal School District. Identify the synergies that we have, areas of facilities and maintenance, transportation, IT and tech, energy and utilities, procurement and purchasing, human resources, legal and compliance services. We should be looking at collaborating with the Stafford Municipal School District. We have oversight with them. Why are we not bringing those two groups together when we go out and we purchase those services? If we do it together, we have the opportunity to lower our cost. And for that matter, why would we even just limit it to Stafford Municipal School District? Why wouldn't we look at other entities that are in the area that possibly we could commingle with and reduce the cost of our services? That's what we really should start doing. What we should stop doing, we should stop managing our purchasing process the way in which we do it. I mentioned earlier about a $1.3 million spend that the Parks Committee had signed off on to try to purchase some services to improve the parks. I'm all for improving the parks. But the methodology in which they used to go about doing it was just simply, hey, we're just going to take a vendor off the buy board and give them $1.3 million, as opposed to saying, let's source that out. Let's see if we can get that cheaper if we competitively bid that process. We need to stop that because, as I said, money is going out the door faster than it is coming in. I believe that if you save $1, it's more valuable than if you make $1. So we should stop doing that. What we should keep? We should keep our police chief. We should keep our fire chief. We should keep our CFO. These are people that are committed. If you come to those city council meetings and you listen to these people talk and you listen to the fervor and the emotions in their voices, they want what is best for this city, and we should make sure that we do everything to keep those people. And when they ask for something, the question should not be, are you doing it well enough? The question should be, how much more do you want? How much more do you need to provide the services for our city? Thank you.
The first thing I think that the city of Stafford should do is engaging more community engagement and transparency. Residents need more opportunities to be involved in city decisions and to stay informed. We need to implement more town hall meetings, digital platforms, and mobile apps to increase civic engagement. We need to ensure greater transparency, not just truth, but transparency in budgeting and decision-making through open data initiatives. We need to expand neighborhood outreach programs to gather feedback and address local concerns. What do we need to stop? We need to stop giving these outrageous agreements to businesses where the city of Stafford is not receiving any tax dollars for an extended period of time. There are no property tax in Stafford, meaning that these businesses are coming here, they're flourishing, and they get 3-4 years of service, and if they choose to leave, they leave, and we recover nothing. So they're living in our city rent-free, and they're getting all of this, and we have to pay them back. What do we need to keep doing? We need to keep promoting Stafford as a destination for business and commerce, minus those agreements. We need to develop and brand a marketing strategy to showcase Stafford as a hub for commerce. If we're going to live off sales taxes, then we have to make sure that we get the businesses in that will make sure that we have steady sales taxes coming in. We need to host business expos, networking events, and investment summits to connect businesses with opportunities. And thirdly, we need to support tourism and hospitality initiatives to drive the economy active and boost local revenues.
Mr. Foster.
Thank you. I have, so I think we should start figuring out how to unfreeze 11 frozen positions at the police department. They're still frozen. We had 15 a couple months ago, then they unfroze 4. So we have 11 frozen positions still at the police department. We should start by trying to find a way to unfreeze those, because as a police officer working on the streets with the Stafford police side by side, I see how, they're being ran around town for call after call after call, and they have no time to be proactive, and that's a shame because we got a lot of really good officers. But I also think we should start getting the people engaged. That's a big thing. I realize that's 2 things we should start, but I think we should stop letting small disagreements hold up big decisions and big progress for the city. We let little things hold up our city council meetings. If you watch them, they go on like 5 hours sometimes. For 7 square miles, we shouldn't have 5-hour council meetings because we let little things become big problems that hold us up. So we should stop doing that. I think what we should keep, our staff. We have amazing staff. Miss Ricks, who does a great job. The multimedia team, who's doing a great job all the time. And the fire marshal. These are great people. And a lot of city employees, they work really hard for this city. Day in and day out, they're working in the rain, they're working in the cold, they're working in the heat. For us, for the people who live here, for these businesses, we should keep them, and that should be a priority. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to start down on this end. Mr. Thomas. Give me your vision for the city of Stafford for the next 10 years.
My vision for the city of Stafford. When I look at the city of Stafford, I think about traffic. We have traffic that drives back and forth down the 90 corridor. We have traffic that drives back and forth down the 59 corridor. And we have traffic that drives down 1092, both ways. And we should figure out a way to carve up those areas, to identify areas and set them up in terms of zoning, a warehouse zoning area, so that we can eliminate this issue about warehouses being built all over the city. We have a special place, a special area where warehouses are going to be. We zone off an area for retail and restaurants. We zone off an area for entertainment, specifically around the Civic Center. We zone off those areas and we develop the city in such a way that feeds into that, not just for the citizens to enjoy, but also for visitors to come into our city, spend their money, create sales dollars, to whereas it replenishes our coffers. My vision is that we develop that Highway 90 corridor. Currently, it's filled with a bunch of different businesses of different sorts, but a well-organized city needs to have a zoning plan so that developers can come in and say, we can do this for that particular area. And in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, it would look totally different. This city would look totally different from what it is today. Thank you.
Mr. Caldwell?
Thank you very much. I have a few points that I would like to make. Number one, the vision includes sustainability, so that if any one of us become an ink spot and we're not here, that the city is still able to go on without us being there. That's really big, that we create the infrastructures that create sustainability. Number one, the vision is for us to have smart budgeting and fiscal oversight. Number two, economic development and business growth. Number 3, pursuing alternative revenue resources. Number 4, maintaining a balanced tax structure. That is my vision for Stafford. Not just to do it, but to make sure that it is sustainable, that it's measurable, that it's something that anyone can come in and continue, because at the end of the day, we want our city to be a destination city for businesses, a destination city for residents, a place where you get great education, a great place to eat, live, drink, and enjoy, with green spaces where you can walk your dog, with restaurants where you can go out and eat and you have to go to Sugar Land, you have to go to Houston, and areas where we can enjoy. That is what's most important, and that is my vision for the next 5 years for the city of Stafford. Thank you.
What's your vision? Give us your vision.
So my vision, it really focuses on how do we create and make Stafford a destination. There's no marketing, there's no branding. How do we make Stafford a place? Is that through enhancements of our corridors, our signage, our parks? Every bit of infrastructure is a piece of Stafford. It characterizes it. But then my other question is, or my other vision is, how do we attract young families? How do we get people here in the limited housing inventory? How do we combat the renters to getting the people that are actually going to move families in here and not a transient population? Stafford is right now is dealing with a transient population, hence our population is declining. It's declining by 3%. That's a lot of money, a lot of federal funding too. And then it impacts our school district too. So for some reason, the school, the city, they go hand in hand. And how do we make this happen? What do? We have to target new ways of attracting people here. How do we get people to move here to Stafford so that they utilize our services, attend our schools, and become a valued member of our community? And at the end of the day, the goal is to enhance the community's quality of life. And that includes things such as the Target, the grocery store that we're working on. There's things that we're working on to improve the community, what the community wants, and we hear you, and we know we're trying our best to get this stuff for you. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Foster, what is your vision for the city of Stafford?
My vision for the city of Stafford, looking forward 10 years, I would love to see this city be a city that's safe, where the crime rate is not going up, where people are not waking up in the morning seeing that their car has been broken into or stolen. A city where people aren't coming home from working a long day to see that their house been broken into or that their business been broken into. We have a crime problem in the city right now, and my vision is that we won't have a crime problem. Another part of my vision is the school. Our Stafford MSD, we're the only municipal school district in the state. I think that the school district is just like public safety. It's the backbone of our future. It's the backbone of what we have right now. And I would like to see more young families, more people with kids coming into this city, putting in to the school system and putting into the community. I think if we engage the people now and we start now, 10 years from now, we're going to have a much more engaged population. And when people are engaged, they take a civic responsibility for their city, whether or not they rent or they own. And this isn't the tale of two Staffords. We've got one Stafford. Everybody who lives here, whether they rent or they own. So we need to bring everybody together, have a vision for the future, and make the school system work, make the public safety work, and keep this city a great place and make it a destination.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Guerra, your vision for the city of Stafford.
My vision for Stafford is to make sure we have an economic director that's going to help the city recruit and also categorize our areas. We need a comprehensive plan that needs to be adjusted. We need to adjust our plan so where we have any vacant land, possibly turn it into residential. Secondarily, we need an individual that was instrumental in bringing the businesses we have now to headhunt, to keep bringing businesses on the corridors. There's a lot of shifting in areas that don't need to be butchered with warehouses. We need more retail fast food or whatever. But we have enough warehouses now that are not being filled that we have to look at that very closely. We've been fighting this for 21 years as far as I'm concerned, because we were discussing that back in 2002. It hasn't changed. But we have improved. We have a grocery store, Target's coming in. It's not your regular store, but it does have a grocery store. And at the end of the day, the grid is going to be instrumental for the next 10 years in not giving up any of the money that we have coming to us. Then we start working on the corridor at Highway 90, see how we can go in partnerships, Turks and everything like that, that will help build the corridor up. And there's individuals that own majority parcels, and it's not no longer like it was a bunch of stamps. It's owned by individuals that have big parcels now. So I think that can still be achieved. So with all that said, economic growth.
Okay, all right. Mr. Thomas brought up something. When you touched on it too. Mr. Caldwell, I'm going to throw it to you. Let's talk about zoning.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on zoning? We don't have zoning, correct? All right. I didn't think we did. We do have zoning.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, talk to me about zoning, and talk to me about this idea of setting aside tracts and making sure things sort of coalesce better.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think what has happened is that the current city council, we decided a year ago, 2 years ago, to pick up the can that had been kicked down the road for many, many years. And when you pick up the can, you get all of the ugly, and you have to deal with all of the problems. So we walked into a situation where parcels of land had already been zoned for industry. Parcels of land had been zoned for different commercials, but there were no more parcels of land zoned for residential outside of the new area, I guess, right in front of the promenade. So we are limited in space for rooftops. If there is an opportunity for us to go back and relook and reevaluate some of those areas that are becoming vacant and repurpose that, I think that we should look at that and see how do we build a new and better Stafford if we have that opportunity. It doesn't look like it's going to be available. I mean, we are landlocked. We don't have a lot of land left to use. But I think if that opportunity presented itself, that we should really take a strong look at how do we want to reuse that land? Do we want to repurpose it? Is it beneficial for us to repurpose it? So I think there would have to be a lot of negotiations and a lot of talk on how we would do that.
Okay, not going to be easy, but
Will not be easy at all.
You'd entertain. Anyone else entertain the idea of looking at zoning, looking at the way we're zoned? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we do need to look at zoning. I mean, that's the underpinning of city planning, is to look at zoning. If you want to drive the direction of where you want to take the city, you have to look at that. And if you have to rezone certain areas, you rezone certain areas. We're talking about 5 years, 10 years, 20 years out. What do we want this city to look like? You absolutely should look at that. That should be a part of the thing that is in your toolkit.
Talk about that? Go ahead, Mr. Bostic.
Yes, so I served on the Zoning and Planning Commission for 10 years, and then also for 2 of those years, I was the chairman of the Zoning and Planning Commission. So zoning is a very important facet of Stafford. If we didn't have zoning, we could be like Houston, where you have a mixture of everything from a zone de erotica to a preschool to a strip club, all within the same tract. That's the purpose of zoning. It stops all that type of stuff, and you can specifically build uses into where these things are going to go. So our biggest issue right now is that we don't have we haven't updated our comprehensive plan since 2018. I want to say 2018. It might have been 2017. But we haven't updated our comprehensive plan, so we actually need to focus on that and see what limited bit of land, vacant land that we do have, and also the redevelopment of current parcels. And so that's trying to figure out what kind of uses do we want. And you also have to realize that, once again, Stafford is 7 square miles. We're not getting any bigger. We can't expand. We have to grow up. So you're going to be looking at smaller parcels, more condensed housing or dense housing. And that's the reality of what Stafford is. We're going to have to do some type of development on infill, but we're also going to have to target what limited vacant space there is and what do we want there. So, thank you.
Anyone talk about it? Yeah.
Chime in on this. I think that I agree with a lot of what Mr. Bostic just said about the comprehensive plan and redeveloping and all that. There is a lot of areas that we should look at redeveloping in the future, but we got to have a vision. We got to have a long-term plan for that before we, Planning and Zoning Commission has to have the same. They got to be on the same page as the rest of the council, the rest of the citizens. So.
Okay. All right. Anything on that, Win? Are you in agreement?
As far as comprehensive plans, that's fallen on deaf ears for the last 8 years. It started, it finished, and it wasn't completed. We lost our planner, and everything halted. At the end of the day, we lost the planner, we lost our economic development director, and that hurt the whole situation. We need to go back and take a deep breath and make sure we employ a economic director with a good track record, and then work on the planner working directly under the economic director. Have a town hall meeting, bring people from the community so they are part of the mix. And at the end of the day, I think it can still be salvaged as far as let's put a moratorium on warehouses. Stop. Take a good look, and whatever land we have, convert it. If it's got a used car lot or something like that, as soon as they change hands, no more. Put a stop on all the unfavorable businesses that are here. Then you move forward with new development. And then you do a partnership. There's not a single business that I've not been aware of in the greater Houston area, Missouri City, Sugarland. They do partnerships and they share. That's the only way they come to work. And at the end of the day, that's the only way to break this chain. If not, we're just going to keep following that can that was supposed to be.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's see. I started at this end, the introductions. We're about to do our closing right now. There's 15 cities, at least, in America named Stafford. All right. We know there's only one Stafford, right? All right. I've got 5 gentlemen up here running for 2 positions on the Stafford City Council, an august body. I would like for you to tell the voters of Stafford why now, you're closing. Mr. Thomas.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share my vision for Stafford's future. Let me be clear. Our city is not in dire straits. In fact, Stafford is perfectly positioned to chart a path forward, to provide long-term success, ensuring safety, security, and prosperity for our citizens and businesses. But we must act now. We need better governance of our city, finances, strategic planning for long-term infrastructure, and leadership that is prepared to guide Stafford into the future. Our priorities should be clear. First, the safety and security of our citizens, businesses, and visitors. Second, addressing quality of life concerns to retain long-term residents, attract new ones, and convert renters into homeowners. Third, listen to the business community, our lifeline to prosperity. And finally, ensuring city government operates with the sole purpose of serving its citizens. If elected, I will bring these values to City Council and work tirelessly to move Stafford forward. Together, we can build a thriving, united community.
Thank you. So, as I have been running for this office, and I have my first time running for a council position. I've been going through the city, and I've been listening to the residents, listening to people's concerns. And the number one concern that keeps getting brought to me is public safety. It's our fire, it's our police. And as a police officer, as a active police officer, I believe that the time is now to address those concerns for the public. I'm qualified and able to do that and willing to do it. So that's my closing remark on why you should vote for me, but I want to say thank you to everybody for being here and listening to us. I think that the people of Stafford are very lucky to have the 5 people on this stage that are laying out these visions to lead the city forward, and the voters are very lucky to be in the city of Stafford. We all are.
Thank you. Yes, I just want to say it's an honor and privilege to be up here. It's an honor and privilege to be your representative. Growing up here in Stafford, America, my hometown, we've always known it as a small-knit community. Everybody knew everybody. We were all friends. Most diverse community there is. Further, there's a reason I chose to double down on my community, and I bought a house here. You know, there was a tax advantage, but also it's my home. I enjoy it. I love the people here, everyone here, regardless of who you are. You might like me, you might not, but still y'all are my community, and I support y'all. And I'm going to continue to support y'all. Once again, I just want to say Stafford, America is the best city in America. And I make sure I call it Stafford, America to differentiate us. You know, we're in the best state, but also the best city in America. So once again, I just hope I have your support again. William Bostic, City Council position number 3 on the ballot. And once again, it's just an honor and privilege to even be up here with y'all, along with my colleagues up here, my peers, and then my colleagues out here. Thank y'all.
Well, all I can tell you, I'm running because my citizens want me to run. I bring you years of experience in my contributions to council. I can't begin to tell you everything, but there's a lot of things that are implemented, from staffing to projects. I didn't finish my last project, but I was in the middle of the negotiations at the Pike Road. Yes, it's needed because it's going to have heavy traffic, and we had a blacktop road, and guess what? It was a partnership that it was almost free. It was a partnership between the developer, Fort Bend County, and Stafford. So it did not erode the money. And at the end of the day, involvement with staff. I was the HR chairman for years. That's why I have my issues with a lot of staff people, because they know that I was the watchdog. And I finally convinced Mr. Scarcella to hire an HR director. I'll have to stop because I can talk for another 30 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. As someone who has spent a lifetime in service as an educator, board member, administrator, and now council member, I understand what it takes to lead with integrity, make tough decisions, and keep the community at the center of it all. Stafford is a city with strong roots and even stronger potential, but we must be intentional about how we grow, balancing fiscal responsibility with investment in public safety, infrastructure, and economic opportunity. I bring experience, the leadership, and the commitment to continue moving Stafford forward. I will always be accessible, transparent, and focus on what's best for our city. I respectfully ask for your support, your trust, and your vote to continue serving Stafford with vision, integrity, and a heart for the community. Thank you.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for being here today, and thank you, everyone, for joining us at this candidates forum. We hope that it was an informative session. Fort Bend Chamber encourages you to vote yes on the Stafford Municipal School District bond, propositions A through D, on May 3rd on the ballot. Please be sure to vote early They maybe scratch out vote early, vote often. Let's just vote early. Important election dates, early voting April 22nd through April 29th, and election day is May 3rd. Thank you and have a great night.